Also, I'd like to publicly acknowledge the hard work that the committee, the search committee did. And you know, there's a lot that goes into that, and it does require a lot of time. And you know, Houston probably didn't know this at the time, but I think we had something like 150, 160 applicants for that position. So it takes a lot of time to get through all that information and distill it down into a set of finalists, which we did. And we had a very strong pool, a very strong set of finalists. But I have to say, I believe we ended up with the best possible candidate we could have. Houston, we're really excited that you're here and appreciate your interest in coming here. And I understand that you were pretty excited when Joel called you on the phone the other night and said, you know, do you want the job? So we like that enthusiasm. But you know, thank you for becoming an Eagle and part of the Eagle family. And I know Houston. Well, I don't want to go on. I'm going to let you ask him questions and let him talk about, you know, his agenda. And it's a great agenda, and we're just proud to have you be part of the Eagle family.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks a lot.
Really excited to have a head coach with the kind of experience and the kind of knowledge base about what we do here and what we do in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Houston Reed played college ball at a junior college and then also played at Northern State, so he's very familiar with Division II. His coaching career started out at the high school level in Colorado, and then he went to Otero Junior College. He's been there for a significant amount of time and been very successful at Otero. I think the most important thing for me to say, though, is Houston Reed is a perfect fit for what we're trying to accomplish here at Chadron State Athletics. We want to be competitive in everything that we do. Dr. Rhine's been very supportive of trying to get us in the right position to do that, and this is another piece of that puzzle that's going to get us to that next level. So without further ado, and you don't need to hear from me, this is Houston Reed, our new men's basketball coach. That's right.
You know, first and foremost for me is I feel extremely blessed right now. I'll try not to get too emotional about it, but really thankful for Dr. Rhine and just listening to other coaches talk about his mission and his support of just students at Chadron State and how he gets the mission. It just makes the excitement about Chadron State you know, even on a higher level for me. And then with Joel, I know Joel's resume and what he's done as an athletic director within the league. I know, you know, his work as the commissioner of the RMAC for several years, and just listening to him talk about the direction that Chadron State athletics are heading and what they're doing is very exciting and encouraging to see that he has a written out plan of just continued success in the athletic department. And you know, I'm excited to be part of some athletic programs here that are excelling. I want to emulate those programs, and then I want to be able to take the men's basketball program and be up to par with some of the functioning programs here that are doing really well, and I'm confident in our ability to do that. I'm just a small town guy that came from, I come from a small town, blue collar, farming family. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college. I'm blessed to be the new men's basketball coach at Chadron State College. And I take the representation of the institution, the athletic department, very seriously. And that blue collar background for me of, you know, doing what you say, integrity, being a person of your word, proper representation, is that old blue collar stuff that I take extremely seriously, and I just feel so honored that the people are trusting me with that. And you know, those things that I think I bring as a person is what we're going to do and bring as an entire program and as a team, and that's my goal as the next men's basketball coach. So,
all right.
Sir.
Coach Dave Collins, voice of the Eagles, and welcome. Glad to have you here. Looking forward to working with you. Curious, what brand of basketball are you bringing to Chadron State? What kind of style do you like to play, and what do you want to implement for the Eagles?
Yeah, I think the thing in the implement stage is we want to establish our culture first and foremost. The establishment of that culture is going to be a team-first approach. Toughness is really important to us. How hard that you compete and how hard you play. No promises, but I will put my name behind our guys will play very, very, very hard. And the brand of basketball is going to be one to where the community of Chadron will emulate the blue collarness of the community and it'll be a brand that they really appreciate. X's and O's wise, you know, we really want to be able to defend the basketball and have a great team defense. And the concept that our best offense is going to be our defense, and establishing that is a toughness thing as well. And then on the offensive end, you know, we want kids to play with confidence. We want you know, I think it's the coaching staff's job to bring in young men that fit with the talent level and so forth. And we've got to trust that we're bringing them in here to produce offensively. And we've got to allow them to do that. And if they're not doing it, then I probably need to recruit guys that can. So on the offensive end, we want guys to be confident, be who they are, and be who we recruited. And on the other end, man, we have a standard defensively, and rebounding, and toughness, and effort-wise that we will non-negotiable.
Have you had a chance to meet the team and talk to the guys yet?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did that go?
I had a team meeting last night and was able to lay out some things that we want to do with the program. I think I'm very aware that I told them right off the bat, you know, 6 weeks, 6 months from now, you probably aren't going to remember a whole lot. So I tried to keep it as short as possible, but just talk to them a lot about the things that I just spoke about with team first attitude, being competitive people. I think as adults and as men, and you go past that next phase in life, life's hard. You better be able to compete as a husband, as a father, as in the job force. And so talk to them just about that stuff, and I was very encouraged by how engaged that they were. And if they were as excited as I was, then it's great. There was some excitement, some juice in the room, and I was really excited about that.
Great. Thanks, Coach. Glad to have you aboard.
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Jeremy Anderson,
Hey, Jeremy.
KCSR. You went and you played with Don Meyer up at Northern State. Being, you know, a legendary coach, how much of your coaching influences come from what you learned as him as a player?
Yeah, first is I played for Don Meyer. I don't think you played with Don Meyer. No, I played, you know, yeah, I mean, a lot. You know, and Coach Meyer is you know, I don't have to break out Coach Meyer's resume. I think anybody connected to athletics and college basketball knows who Coach Meyer is or was. I think what we want to emulate is just the development of players, and then what the bigger picture is the development of people, and that's who Don Meyer was, and that's who he is, and he was very an instrumental man in my life. I got to be much closer with. It's hard to be close with Coach Meyer when you play for him, and when I got into the coaching arena, he became really close, and it's been hard with his passing, but. Yeah, I mean, to sit here and say I'm going to beat Don Myers, come on now. I mean, there's only one Don Meyer, and so it's taking his influence, and but at the same time being my own coach, and but just implementing the fact of developing players, developing people, and that type of stuff. And if I can get a small piece of that, I'll probably be a pretty good coach.
McLaughlin,
Hey, Will.
reporter for The Eagle here at Chadron State College. With one of your better players leaving and transferring to another school, how do you plan to, I guess, notify or handle the situation of other athletes possibly leaving?
No, I think our situation is this: is we always want players that want to be here, and that's not just in the men's basketball program. That's in the athletic department. That's at the college. You know, my philosophy moving forward is we're going to create a competitive environment where, you know, this is what I told the guys last night. Whether if you're a returner, whether if you played 25 minutes last year, whether you played 2 minutes last year, whether if you're going to be the group that we're going to bring in, hey, we're gonna lay down the expectations and the standard of the program, and we're gonna roll the ball out, and it's gonna be like it is in life. Every single day, you're gonna have to. I got to prove every day that I'm a good father. I got to prove every day that I'm a good husband. I got to prove every day that I'm a good employee. And along with being an athlete, you've got to prove every day that you are who you say you are, and you live up to the brand, and you live up to the standard. So creating that competitive environment, and putting the guys on the floor that can buy in and represent the program and the brand as best as possible. At this point, not getting too caught up in guys that are here, guys that are transferring, guys leave, guys come in. We'll put it together in the fall. We'll roll it out, and we'll build it with the culture. The culture we're trying to establish.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Great to have you here.
Thank you. I like your haircut. They lined you out in front.
Oh, yeah. I'm a basketball player. Excited to know that.
That's it. Didn't get it in the dorms, did you?
Actually, I did.
Hey, you figured it out, man.
He's done well. He's done really well.
Sir.
It's kind of late in the recruiting season. I'm sure most of the great players have been signed, but do you think you'll be able to bring in a few to join the ones that are going to stay?
Yeah, being late in recruiting is perspective. It's May. The sign date's passed, obviously. But Chris Beard called me last night. Chris obviously was at Angelo State, and then did great things at Arkansas Little Rock, and then briefly was at UNLV, and then is now back at Texas Tech. And talking to Coach Beard, congratulating me on the job and so forth, and then just asked Coach Beard for some pieces of advice. And the first thing that he told me to dream big. And the second thing he told me is don't panic. It's early. There's a lot of good players that are out there. And so if that's coming from Chris Beard, who's been successful at multiple levels and is in our profession what we call a ball coach. He's a ball coach. And so I'll take Chris Beard's advice on that. So I'm not panicked. You can go to my office right now. I've been here for several hours, and there's about 7 legal pads spread all over the place, and a lot of lists, and a lot of phone calls that were happening about 6:30 here.
You had some sophomores that I assume at Otero, any of those might come here, or are they already signed to go to the list?
Yeah, we've got a handful of guys that are still available. I've got one young man. I don't want to be too premature in his commitment, but very confident that we'll have before I make an announcement, that type of stuff. That
It might be somebody will fall.
Yes, and I got another young man that crossing my fingers every day that we can get him to be an Eagle. But was a very good player and has some mid-major type schools looking at him right now, and hopefully we can twist his arm. And then another young man that I like to get more evaluation on what we're here with and see we can stack our positions correctly. But do have intentions of carrying over some of the guys that we were successful with at Otero, whether if that's this season or there's a handful of guys that will be returning freshmen and will be sophomores next year that when I called those guys individually and told them that I was taking this position, that told them that you tell everybody you got at least one school recruit. The men's basketball program is built for success, and whether if it's the attraction to the facility, whether if it's the fiscal attraction, whether if it's the direction that administration is moving the men's basketball program. For me, my family and I are small town community people, and it's a rural area, and we like relationships, and we like knowing our people. We like not having to worry about locking our doors, and so that was an attraction. And I'm excited genuinely about the challenge and moving forward of getting the men's basketball program competitively where it is set up to be. And so taking on that challenge is a fresh breath of air. And then just knowing that the standard from the college and the administration here is we want to win and we want to compete. We want to do all those great things that are nice to hear in press conferences. But at the same time, we need to do it with the right people. And the right people that represent themselves as students first, represent our community well, represent their family name well. And so knowing that it can be a combination of the winning stuff that everybody wants to hear about, but also combining that with the right type of people, all those things added up, obviously made it extremely attractive.
Now, how do you get kids to come to Chadron? I mean, like you said, it's a rural community. Maybe for some kids it might not be the place they want to go. What do you get them here with?
Well, I think anytime you're recruiting to a rural area, I think any coach that has coaching experience in that is you got to sell yourself. And selling yourself, it's some of it's basketball sense and that type of stuff. If you didn't have that, I wouldn't have a position. But it's in relationships. I think it's building security with recruits of a comfortability that you're going to take care of them as people and students first. Building that rapport with their family, knowing that you might have student athletes coming from a distance away, knowing that you're going to look out for their son, knowing that if you get a call, late in the evening or night, and they have a family issue going on, or that your door's open, that you're going to care about them as people first, is something I think is a sell that you do as a person. And then I'm looking forward to having some student athletes here in the short future on some visits. And truthfully, for me, Chadron State sells itself in a lot of areas. You walk into this facility, I obviously don't know everything around it, but the facility here was done right, and it was done with it's beautiful. The campus here is completely outstanding. And what sells Chadron more than a coach, the people at Chadron State College are good people that care about you being successful in the classroom, and it's going to be a friendly environment to where people can have a great experience here. And so those are all selling points that I think that are part of it, and start putting some wins under your belt, and that will help as well.
So what do you see as your biggest challenge there? What's going to be the thing that you're going to...
Yeah, I think that's a tremendous question. I think building culture. In building a culture, the hardest thing to do, whether if you're a basketball coach, you're an administrator, you're a teacher, you're a CEO of a company, the hardest thing is getting people to think the way that you think. And so building a culture of, I might have a great plan on what we want to move with the program, but getting the culture built to the young men in the program that are currently here and the recruits that come in, getting them to buy into and think the way that the program thinks. And so just the culture shift and change, and change can be difficult, but the culture part is probably, I think, a challenge in any change that's made.
Hey, Coach, Chris Earl with KNEB Radio in Scottsbluff. I'd like to welcome you to the Panhandle, and also thank the school for setting up the teleconference. Curious, after you laid the groundwork there at Otero the last 5 years, you guys have been on a heck of a run. Let's see, that record was 117-46 over the last 5 years. What allowed you to turn the corner and really make those types of strides?
First and foremost, I had a tremendous assistant coach. And what he does and work that did behind the scenes was a big piece of our success recently at Otero. And the last 5 years of success at Otero comes from the establishing of the culture. And once you establish the culture, and it's a shorter time, when you have old guys holding young guys accountable, that really pays dividends. And the only heavy in your program is not a coach. And so just the accountability, knowing what the expectations are. I think in most cases, when expectations are laid down for people, and they're going to want to try to meet those expectations. So our expectations were laid down, and then we just really found our niche in the type of person that was going to be successful in what we were trying to do, whether that was as a basketball player or a person. And just being, one of the biggest things that we talk about a lot is just allow yourself to be coached. And so we're able to find the right type of talent with the right type of people that wanted to improve and wanted to buy in. And sometimes, we've been willing in Otero to maybe give up on somebody, give up how high somebody jumps or how fast they run for how tough that they are and how much that they buy in. So I think just finding that mix, we really went through a string there where we found the right kids and the right pieces, and we figured out the equation there, and that's the reason why you saw the results that we had there.
I know you touched a little bit on the recruiting aspect already, but going from a junior college now to a four-year school, Did that philosophy change as far as recruiting? And I know we've had a lot of good high school teams out here in the Panhandle the last 3-4 years. Is it going to be a point of emphasis for you to keep some of the best players in the area and up to Chadron?
Saying that recruiting the Panhandle is a point of emphasis is an understatement. We're going to work tirelessly to recruit the best players in the Panhandle of Nebraska and across the other part of the state as well. That's a high priority for us in the recruiting aspect of it. As far as the recruiting overall plan from a junior college to NCAA Division II, I think it's finding again the right mix of building it. In the previous question, you know, when I played for Don Meyer, I was his 5th junior college transfer in about 30 years, and there was a lot of jokes that went along with that. And so there's that Don Meyer piece of 4 years and maybe 5 years with the red shirt and breaking you down and developing you and that type of stuff, and that's going to happen, and we believe in finding the young men we can do that with. We also have the belief of getting guys in there that are experienced and junior college guys or NCAA transfers, Division I, whatnot. And just I think the recruiting plan is finding the right mix of guys that fit the needs as far as in classes. You know, I don't think we want to be too far in one of those areas than the other. But part of your question that I want to make sure is we're recruiting the Panhandle of Nebraska, and that truthfully that process has already started.
Appreciate the time, Coach, and best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Margie, did you have one other question?
Oh, I was just going to ask, what's your first step? What do you need to get working on right away? And when will you start?
Well, official start date's May 18th.
May 18th?
Yes, ma'am. And first step is taking care of and evaluating the young men that are here in the program. And what I mean by evaluating is evaluating them as people and students and find out what direction that they're heading in and if they're ready to pull in the same direction of the program. And then the second piece is recruiting. You know, let's just call it what it is. Having good players sure makes good coaches. And so I had a list that was already built before I got offered the job. So when I got the call from Mr. Smith, that night, in the night hours, those phone calls started to take place. And so it's the recruiting piece, and then it's you know, keeping the inside of our cup clean, which is the players that are here.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Coach Reed.
Thank you, Taylor.
I need to